There's 26 million properties in the UK right now. How do we pick the best one? So this all begins with your investment goals. What makes a great deal is criteria. And what gives the criteria is the investor or the company working with the investor, right? So you need to understand what your goals are, what your ambitions are, what you're looking to achieve by investing in property. Now, for some people out there, like, I want to quit my job based on property. It's like, yeah, that's great if you're a property business. For example, Aspire Property Group, my main business, we do property packaging, property trades, where we find investments for investors just like you, match them together, we get paid a fee. So kind of like an estate agent, but we find insane, world-class property investment deals for investors. So we represent the investor rather than the seller. But that's a property business. So yeah, I can quit a job doing deal packaging because that is a business. And essentially, it's another job, really. But actually replacing your income from property is pretty ambitious over the long term, so, or in the short term at least. So if you think about it, if your average buy-to-let brings you, well, with interest rates the way they are now, 150 quid, and then how many of those do you need on a monthly basis to quit your job? 20? Great. Have you got, what would that be? £1 million quid, give or take, cash in order to quit your job? Didn't think so. All right, so you need to know what your outcomes are. Actually, most of our investors, they're obsessed with generational wealth. I can make somebody's 100,000, 300,000 in 10 years, and I can make it 900,000 in 20 years, and I can make it 2.7 million in 30 years. And you think, there's no fucking way. Yes, there is. We've done it again and again and again, okay? So we need to think about the long term, but you also need to think about your ambitions and what you are looking to achieve within property. Number 2, location matters. It really does. I know we say location, 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 because it matters so bloody much. Let me give you an example. Okay, so in the northeast, there's some mining villages up there, and the property values are about 50 grand. Now, when I first got it started in property around a decade ago, I got a load of properties up there. Guess what they were worth? 50 grand. And I thought I was a fucking genius getting a 20% discount. I got loads of them at 40 grand. And I thought, they're 40 grand, 20% BMV. That's the dream, the holy grail. I'm going to be so friggin' rich. I got rid of all of them as soon as I bloody could. 2 years later, I own 0 properties in the... No, that's not true. I own some properties in the northeast, to be fair, but not in those mining villages. They're worth 50 grand for a reason. The reason why I'm saying this is so many people think that discount's a really big deal. Well, if discount is a big deal to you, yes, you save a few pounds today, pennies today, pounds for pounds tomorrow. Or in this case, you might save 10 grand today. Genuinely, this is how extreme it is. You will lose £10,000 today and you sacrifice 100,000 minimum over a 10 years basis. Like, you can't be that desperate for a discount, or you're a bit of a fucking idiot and you shouldn't be investing. So location matters. Why do I even say that? Well, you're not getting a discount in prime areas. You're just not, unless the unique situation comes up, which is once in a blue moon. And the reason why I'm really pushing this is the amount of investors that I talk to, which is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people every single year. Oh, this person got this deal. It's like, let me have a look. I look at it, do not fucking buy that. It's a terrible investment. I once had somebody go, somebody bought me a 25% discount deal. I'm like, oh, great, show me it. Oh my God. First of all, the numbers were awful. It's 10% discount at best. And it is one of the worst areas of the northeast that you can buy in. What? Location matters. Find a great area. Like in business, we say price is what you pay, value is what you get. Focus on the value and the price doesn't matter. Now's probably a good time to shout myself out here. If you are somebody that is, like I said, you focus on the value rather than the price, and you really want to build a wealthy individual's portfolio, create generational wealth for your, not just your financial future, but your generations below you, if that is what you're doing in life, right? Then we might be for you. We actually help people build successful portfolios, and you need ideally 100 grand, but absolute minimum £50,000 to get started. And we can actually help you create generational wealth in 2024. If this is something you're looking to do, put APG in the comments. That stands for Aspire Property Group. APG in the comments, or I'll put a link in the comments and I'll pin it to the top. Fill in your details. Let's see if we can help make your 2024 the best investment year yet. Next is viewing the property. Now, if you are buying the property yourself without professional advice and services, and that's why I say at Aspire Property Group, we take care of everything end to end, like literally everything. But if you're doing this, you have to go view it yourself. If you're going to go there, you need to do a checklist. We have something like 87 things that we check, and it starts across the road from the property. So the first thing we look at on a viewing is the ridge line of the roof. The ridge line, by the way, is making sure it's nice and flat, it's not sagging. We look for loose tiles, we look around the flashing on the chimney to make sure it's not loose. We then come up, we check the guttering of it, make sure there's no cracks, make sure it doesn't need to get emptied, which it almost definitely does. We look at the windows, make sure it's double glazed, look to the door, is it PVC, is it wood? You get my point, okay? You need to have a checklist, because what's the chances, if you're in your first couple of years, that you're going to go to a property and go, okay, then there's this, then there's this, then there's this, then there's this, then no, you don't do it that way. You've got to have a checklist. Very much even, by the way, professionals. We are professionals. We've done this for 10 years. We still have the same checklist going again and again and again. If you've ever spoken to a pilot, even if they've been flying for 30 years, they'll have somebody next to them going, right, this, yes, done. Check this, yes, done. This, yes, done. They've got their checklist because you cannot afford to miss something. So go and do the viewing and make sure you've got that checklist, and you go from the outside, up, down, inside, up, down, outside at the back, up, down, and then go to the back of the garden. And then you also need to view it virtually on Google Maps, drop the avatar and do a little checkout of the area and make sure there's nothing outside visually that's going to impact the value and future investment portfolio. Next is your legal considerations. Buying a property actually isn't as simple as getting a property, offering on the property, and getting it agreed. That is probably about 20% of the overall. Then you need to get it financed and through legals. Let's say you are purchasing with a mortgage. There is around 13 weeks worth of work to do. There is over 50 separate checks that you need to do on each property, legally and financially speaking. If it's a leasehold property, which I strongly recommend against, then it's going to be even more. You also want to look at any covenants on the property. Are there any restrictions on the property? You've got some crazy covenants and restrictions on old properties, by the way. Like, you can't build a shed in the back garden. You cannot have a maid staying in the house. Just random shit that doesn't make any sense today. I'm not sure it did ever back then, to be honest, but you need to make sure your legal governance is sorted, your corporate governance, and your legal considerations are done all the way through. Yes, you're going to get a great lawyer to do this and a great broker to support you, but the idea is to have somebody doing it on your behalf. Again, at Aspire Property Group, we have in-house case progression that work full-time getting this through, and it really is a full-time job getting it through because you have to chase multiple times a day. And guess what? When are your lawyers working? 9 to 5. When's your brokers working? 9 to 5. When are you working? 9 to 5 more than likely, okay? So evenings and weekends do not exist for these people, so you need to make yourself as available as possible. If you are doing it yourself, by the way, make sure your lawyer knows when your breaks are. Now, if you've got a lunch break, that's great, but so does everyone else. Ideally, you've got 15 minutes off in the afternoon or something like that where you can slip out. Make them aware of it so you always do your calls on that day. The final thing is understanding your capabilities for refurbishment. There is a big difference between getting some new carpets and some paint to a full refurbishment from your EICRs, which is your electrical certificates, your CP12s, your gas safety certificates, new boiler installation, your kitchen, your bathroom, maybe the flashing around the roof, maybe the guttering needs emptying, maybe it's structural movement, maybe you need to put up an extra wall to create another bedroom. Whatever it is, understand your criteria in line with your capabilities and make sure you've got a bloody good team on the ground. The reason this is so important is this is pretty much where it all goes wrong. If it can go wrong during a refurbishment, it will go wrong in a refurbishment. If they say 10 weeks, it will take 15 weeks. If they say it costs 20 grand, it will cost 30 grand. Everything goes over in refurbishments, and you need to nail it with the management all the way through the process. So again, you really want to make sure you've got this end to end. And the final point I'd make before I wrap this video up is having a core power team or a team in place. So you're going to need a broker, mortgage broker, a finance broker. You're going to need a lawyer. You're going to need a management agent. You're going to need a project coordinator. You're going to want somebody to check the compliance for you if you don't know already. Strongly recommend looking at the National Landlords Association for people that are qualified. Make sure that they're all protected all the way through on that management side, and just make sure you've got the right people in place. Do your quality check. So if you're buying your first property, if you've got a refurb team, go to 3 separate ones. Make sure you do background checks on them. You need to make sure they're compliant. Make sure they've got their interest in place. Now, again, for a lot of people, this is where it gets overwhelming and why people end up using our service. Now, if you want more info on this, put newbie in the comments and I'll do more for you. All right, I want to make sure that I can educate you enough where you can go and do this yourself. But a lot of you will end up going, do you know what? It's a lot of bloody effort to do myself, especially when I've got a job that's managed to save up this money. I'd rather carry on working and use somebody else's time. And that's where we come in. So we take a small fee at Aspire Property Group and we take care of everything for you, from finding the property, negotiating it, our broker, our solicitor, our case progression team all the way through, our refurbishment team at cost to you, our management company, insurance, accountants, everything. And we've been doing this for a decade now, so you know we're good at what we do. And if you want to have a chat about how that works and maybe how we can help you build that portfolio, put APG in the comments and I'd love to help you out. If you're new to the channel, you want to find out more, as I said, let me know what you want to learn. I've created this channel for you, but make sure to hit the subscribe and the notification bell. And if you did get value, destroy that like button and I'll see you in the next video.